Hi, Rich Carrubba for bowlingball.com. You know, this is the third part of a three-part series of articles, How to Throw a Strike in Bowling. Now, in the first two articles and videos, we talked about the location of the pocket. Obviously, you want to hit the pocket if you're going to have success in bowling, as often as you can on your strike ball deliveries. And next we talked about the initial alignment, where to line up typically in most centers, somewhere around the second arrow on either side of the lane, depending if you're right or left-handed, in order to get the ball to react according to the oiling condition or the oiling pattern the proprietors placed on the lanes. But this part is going to talk about alignment adjustments. Once you line up, if you're not quite getting to the pocket solidly, when you make a good delivery and you hit your target, this little system will help you make good adjustments. Now first, it's important also to discuss that this article and this video is intended for, beginner bowlers or newcomers to the game. Possibly people who have been bowling for a while, maybe only averaging 140 or 150 at this point, and want to get better, want to make improvements. Now certainly if you are better players and you want to listen, you're invited to do so, but I'm targeting this video toward you, the newer players that are trying to learn a little bit more about lane play and lane adjustments. Okay, great. Let's talk about it. First of all, in order to line up properly, you need an initial alignment positioning. We talked about placing your toe of your sliding show on the 20 board, so the instep covers about 18 board, just a couple of boards right of center if you're right-handed, and you target the second arrow plus or minus a board to the right or left out at the rangefinders or the arrows 15 feet beyond the foul line. Well, what happens if you make a good delivery? You throw a slight hook ball and that doesn't quite hit the pocket. If the ball ends up short and comes in light, move right. If the ball hooks too high from that alignment and hits the nose, move left. Those are your two rules of thumb. When you don't get up to the pocket, move right or toward the edge of the lane. If you're left-handed, you'll move left. And if it hits or hooks too early and goes across on the nose or even further perhaps, then you'll want to adjust the opposite way. Okay? Now, a system called parallel adjustments has been around since the beginning of bowling, or 50, 60 years I know of. And it's a simple system, but it works. And there are alternative systems that have been derivatives of the parallel adjustment system. But it's simple in nature. Essentially, in order to change your angle to get to the pocket, you move your feet twice as many boards as you do your target on the lane, but you move them both the same direction. So as example, if you line up in second arrow, you roll your ball over the second arrow, providing you start in the center part of the approach with your sliding foot and end up in the same place. Be surprised how many bowlers drift off target, off line when they walk, and they end up in the wrong place to play the second arrow when they slide at the foul line. So you want to check with that or check with your coach. Make sure you understand that. So if you're going to move two boards to the right and one with your target, that will automatically close the line up and give you a little more direct angle down the lane and angle of entry into the pocket. And if 2 and 1, that's how we refer to that adjustment, 2 and 1 to the right for right-handed bowlers, if that isn't quite enough, it helps you a little but doesn't get there, move 2 and 1 again. You can move in multiples of 2 and 1 adjustments until you find the right angle. In fact, in your practice sessions where your score doesn't matter, practice your initial alignment, then move 2 and 1 right, do it again, again, and again until you end up playing the first arrow. And then go back to the starting position and move 2 and 1 right and go the opposite way. 2 and 1 left, go the opposite way a series of times until you play the third arrow, or possibly continue. Now there are other adjustments off of 2 and 1. You can make 1 and 1, that's one board with your feet and one with your eyes. That's more of a fine-tune adjustment. You're already hitting the pocket, but you want to get a little different angle in there, possibly to improve pin carry. When you get good enough to hit the pocket several or most of the time every game, then those little fine-tune adjustments will work well for you. And 3 and 1 would be the other adjustment where you move your feet more dramatically, 3 boards and 1 with your target on the lane. And typically that comes on extremely oily lane conditions or extremely dry lane conditions. Either one, where you've got to make a little bit more of a bold move with your feet in relative to where you position your eyes sighting on the lane at your target. You move to the right when you're missing right, you move to the left when you're missing left. Use that little formula. Give it some practice, so you rehearse it on the practice lanes and you're familiar with it. So when you get in competition like league bowling or having friendly matches with your friends or family, or even perhaps a tournament, you might get good enough and interested in bowling in a little tournament, and that's fun. Any competition requires getting practice first so you're familiar with your system. Alignment adjustments are the thing that make the pro bowler so good, and the top amateur players in the country's so good, because they know how to adjust to changing lane conditions. And remember, lane conditions change the longer you stay on the lanes. The longer you bowl league and the more games you play, the lanes will be different in the third game of league than they are at the first part. That's because the oil gets pulled off the lane, absorbed by the bowling balls, and gets carried down the lane and separates from its original application on the surface. So you have to learn to make adjustments to them. All right? Hope this video helps you, and good luck. Get out and practice.